My 2001 E38 was purchased from the estate of someone who passed away, who was very fastidious with maintaining the records. I'm going to go through here and I'm going to add up exactly how much it cost for this car to stay on the road over 250,000 miles. Let's go. So these records, they tell a story. So the MSRP, $62,900. Sport package with a convenience package, some heated seats, gas guzzler fee, destination charge, $69,385 even. Adjusted for inflation, we're talking $126,973.83. That's a lot of money. And there's some documentation of some warranty work, not actually a lot. Things are pretty quiet until we start getting to about 60,000 miles. And then we are out of warranty and the previous owner has to start coming out of pocket. Let's go talk about that. Whew. This is really what separated the men from the boys. This is what separates the haves from the have-nots. As far as being a 7 Series owner, this is really where the previous owner distinguished himself from the pack. Because if you're a person that could afford to buy a brand new 7 Series and a fairly impressive spec, they bought the sports package, they got the something package, they got the convenience package. They didn't buy a cheap car. Now, 7 Series can get quite expensive. Even in 2001, you could buy a car that cost nearly $100,000. Back when $100,000 was a whole lot of money, which is wild because $100,000 should still be a whole lot of money. But back in 2001, that was kind of like a number that you could brag about. If you were making over $100,000 a year, that was definitely a flex for the average person. But this car, $70,000. That is pretty impressive, especially when your average brand new car went for, I don't even know how much that is. I think it's like less than $30,000. So this costs twice as much as your average car back in 2001. If you got that kind of money, you really aren't living a life where you need to just settle for things or you're stuck in a situation. When the bills start adding up, I think it's pretty common for people to have the means. They start considering how much time and effort is this going to cost me, because when you got a lot of money, time's more important than the actual money. You're just worried about what the hassle is going to be. And even if you're pretty savvy, you start running the numbers and you're like, what is the depreciation versus how much am I paying out? Then I'm adding in how much it costs and how much is my investment just dipping into the red. This car definitely started dipping into the red, which means that the previous owner was not looking at this car from a logistical standpoint. And they weren't looking at it from a trying to keep up with the Joneses and having the newest, baddest thing. They very clearly were looking at it like something they love. I think the records are 2006 and we start to have some injector problems. I need the laptop for this one. We start talking about some real numbers, some real takes. So we have injector and valve replacement that happens in 2006. This car, if I'm remembering the mileage correct, is over 100,000 miles and now is 6 years old. The new 7 Series has been out now. This is the 7 Series that's looking more dated on the road. So it is definitely a choice that the previous owner made to keep this. Stick with it, because we all know that the Bengal era cars just sucked. And I got a feeling that my dude here, he had those same feels about Bengal era BMWs. Probably felt like he had the last wave of really good BMWs, and his instincts were correct, because that's exactly what happened. So the last great 7 Series, this guy clearly knew all about it, and he was sticking with it. So we're out of warranty. He is spending $2,519 to deal with his injectors and a valve that a machine shop then had to take care of. And if we adjust that number for inflation, we're talking about $4,047. Now, that's a little bit of a hit, but when you're talking about 7 Series money, that $2,000, that really isn't nothing. This seems like a little bit of hiccup. You probably don't want to have to pay that much, but you like the car, you're gonna let it ride. 2006. Well, So that is March of 2006. And then comes September of 2007. September of 2000 reveals that that valve replacement really wasn't doing the trick, and that cylinders 1, 2, and 3 on the exhaust side are going to have their valves replaced in the valley pan gasket, and that the head is just going to need a rebuild. So we have this engine rebuild that happens in 2007, September. And in $2007, that is $7,333. That's a lot of money. That's car down payment money. But the previous owner decided to just keep sticking with it. So if we adjust that for inflation, we're talking about $11,400. And really, you have to wrap up that previous valve job, I think, into this as a part of this expense, because there is a couple notes in the record of there being some little issues that they're trying to diagnose, and they do a couple little things here and there to try to get to the root cause. But I think what we're really dealing with is the fact that the engine needed a rebuild. That, in today's dollars, we're talking about over $15,000 on this wave of repair. Now, I think that right there is probably enough to test the average owner of any car from any generation to have to spend that kind of money. You had some problems, you've rebuilt your engine, the car's starting to get old, you got money in the bank, you can handle it. It's not really slowing you down. You can tell by the other maintenance, he's still not sparing any expense on other things. And then September of 2010, so just 11 months later, we have an engine replacement. Engine replacement for the tune of $5,646.12. Adjusted for inflation is $8,396. But the amount of money, once again, in 2010, now we're talking about a car that is 9 to 10 years old. I do believe our mileage at this point, that's kind of where I wish I would have written down the actual number of miles from all these service records. We're at about 160,000 miles, 170,000 miles, and now we are replacing the engine that we have already rebuilt. And my guy is just continuing to send it down the road. There is still a bunch of other maintenance that are happening at the same time, and he's not skipping on the oil changes, and the tires are getting done regularly, and he's buying a winter set of wheels. Like, this is our guy's car. He loves it, and it shows because he just keeps going. And this car was his last car. Our man passed away, and this is the car that he left behind. And then I bought the car from the estate. It's just kind of been humbling. It was actually a pretty emotional thing to go through the records. It wasn't like a cold and dry, let's see how well a person took care of the car or what's missing. Like, it's very clear that he was very fastidious about maintaining the car and staying on top of the maintenance the best that he could, not being a mechanic himself, and clearly not being mechanically inclined. You can tell by some of the descriptions of the problems he's having. But he never spared any expense. When it came time to foot the bill to make the car right, he did that. And it's humbling. I feel very fortunate that I came across this car, because I would prefer to have a car with high miles that has been very well taken care of than to have a low mile car that was just parked in storage that had started rotting away and also had no story. I do feel like this car has a soul to it. This soul is probably screaming at me because I'm just doing some dumb hood shit, like lowering it and then putting some dubs on it. But I got these 20s and lowered it. But I also plan on taking care of it, right? And making this car serve my needs just like the previous owner did. And to have it, be the fun weekend cruiser, cool looking, badass James Bond, baller ass 7, blah, 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 blah. Dope man, can I get a hit ass car? I intend to take care of the car. I very much love the story behind the car. I love the fact that I get to be the person that puts the next chapter on the car. That's also where one thing that really, really pulls at me is because we have this car that was somebody's last car, and I'm not young anymore either. I wake up in the morning and there's a small handful of pills that I need to take. in the morning. And so as you get older, as is normal, you start thinking about your own mortality and what you're doing and what it all means and what you leave behind and what record of your existence will survive you. Man, this is getting dark. But I think there's something beautiful about that, because what the previous owner left behind is something that I think is important. I think it's very special. And I'm glad that I get to carry the torch, so to speak. But I'm not really one for, like, I don't know. As I get older, I feel like I'm becoming less of an elitist. Like, I don't want this car to just be some image of what this car is supposed to be according to the consensus of a bunch of elitists. I want this car to be the thing that I want it to be. It is my car, and I plan on making it the thing that I see in my head, which is a great looking OEM plus car that has some significant performance upgrades and is great for going on a canyon carving mountain pass drive, and maybe even throwing it on the track just to see what it does. But also, you know, just the dope ass, cool ass car to take to the get together. That. And with that, let's go back to the bench and wrap up these grand numbers, because I'm sure you're interested in knowing how much the total is for this car's maintenance over its entire life, because it's crazy. Whew. Talking about pissing away that kind of money, it can drive a man to drink. May even drink themselves into the grave. So, we're not going to go through this line by line, because I gave myself some cliff notes here on the computer that talks about how much all these things cost. The car's had a couple windshields, it's had tune-ups, new wipers, tires, dent repair, windshield battery, cam position sensor, radiator expansion tank, DME programming, winter wheels and tires. They were actually pretty good. They were the like Bayern spoke style in a 17-inch. Not exactly my style, but not bad for some winter wheels. More wipers, oil wheel balance, BMW inspection number 2 for like $1,000. Oil, lots of oil, wheel balances, lots of wheel balances. Had some touch-up paint done, a hood bra. First thing I did to this car was throw that hood bra away. Sorry, previous owner guy. Your $102.60 cost me money to throw away. Power steering hoses, of course, which I will probably have to replace those as well here pretty soon. Parking brake handle, I didn't know that those were so easy to break, but now that I've used it, I totally understand. Another windshield, had a replacement of a glove box, a hood roundel, transmission seal and water pump back in 2012. Brakes, intake manifold seals, more wipers, a fog light cover, more brakes, some oil, a prop shaft CSB, a new battery, a couple new batteries because I replaced one too, and then a brake speeds wheel sensor that was on my watch. One of the few things of my watch that I actually have on this list. But you have been a beautifully patient viewer, so let me give you the answers. Unadjusted for inflation, so the dollar amount really varying and being worth various different amounts, which is confusing, and my head is almost pounding trying to fully picture it. The amount of money spent on this car, the amount of $1 bills handed over, $105,758.83 in invoices that I have there, which do not count the things that I have done to this car, with the exception of the one line item. Right, like I've put tires on it and I've redone the brakes, and I replaced the stereo and put a blue bus in it and coilovers, and I bought some wheels and blah, 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 blah. And then I purchased a bunch of things that you have not yet seen on this channel that will be future projects. Needless to say, we're probably at about $120,000 spent on this car so far. And then adjusted for inflation, everything that is in these records here, drum roll please, $180,952.57. Adjusted for inflation, which each line item I placed in just using Google, using the dates and the dollar amount and having it adjust for inflation. I didn't really vet how accurate that calculation is because I had a lot of line items to go through, and honestly I just needed a quick and dirty tool because it was already kind of exhausting to go through all that and manually input it into a spreadsheet, especially for somebody whose brain hates the numbers. So that's it. That's a lot of money. That's also a lot of choices that somebody has made along the way to decide that this is the car that they just want to drive. Especially if you have the kind of money that it took to buy this car and then keep it on the road. You had a lot of options at your disposal and probably had the disposable income in which to then turn the car in or sell it off or scrap it or whatever. And I think that is what really makes this car so special, because most don't make it this far. People make the other decision. They decide that they're going to trade the car in, and then this goes into a wholesale auction and either sits around, or the car eventually just gets parted out, you know, because people don't replace the engine when it needs a replacement. And so this car becomes a parts car. And now here we are, nearly 25 years later, 270,000 miles down the road, and I have this car that I love very much that is in amazing condition and that I hope to get down the road for the next 250,000 miles, which you'll see here on this channel. With that said, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time, and I would appreciate it even more if you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Share this information. If you got a friend looking to buy one of these cars, this is a great example of how much these cars cost. They're not cheap, but they are amazing. I love it very much. I love you very much. I just love much. Hey, take care. See you in the next one. So, you know what I did? I scripted this video using AI. And it sucked, and I threw it away. I can't wait to pack up this teleprompter because I don't plan on using it. I'm sorry. I've tried being a good writer, and I've tried scripting these episodes because I just want to give you the best videos that I can on this old bucket. But I think you're just stuck with me winging it and being a goofball. Can you hang with it? All right, I'm done.